Hey, what's going on guys, it's Chum here, and today I have some really awesome leaks for Duel Links' newest main box, Crusaders Battlegrounds. And as you guys can see from this first image here, it's very well oriented around warrior monsters, which has me pretty excited. Either way, in this video guys, I have a bunch of cards to show you. I have what are supposed to be 9 of the leaked ultra rares, as well as all 10 leaked super rares. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to seeing what this box has to offer. Without further ado, let's jump into it. And the first card we have here is the UR, the Dark Creator. Now this card's effect is that it cannot be normal summoned or set and must first special summon from your hand by having 5 or more dark monsters in your graveyard while you control no other monsters. Once per turn, you can banish 1 dark monster from your graveyard to target a dark monster in your graveyard to special summon that target. So of course you banish one, you target another, and you special summon it. So it's very much similar to the Creator, however its summoning conditions are much easier because of course the Creator has to be, you know, kind of normal summoned, or it has to be summoned in more difficult ways than just boom, I'm on the field. The only problem with the Dark Creator is of course that it has to be when you have 5 or more dark monsters in your graveyard, and that's not the easiest thing to achieve. Even if you run 30 cards with the Grasshawk Screener, you're still not going to guarantee to get 5 or more in the graveyard, so you might only be able to get this card on the field when it's already too late to win. But I still think it's pretty cool to have the Dark Creator in the game. Alright guys, now moving on to our second card, we have the ultra rare Silent Swordsman level 7. Now this card, I absolutely love this beast. It is super awesome. I have a place of every single Silent Swordsman in, you know, physical cards. Either way, let's start talking about this card. It cannot be normal summoned or set, must first be summoned by Silent Swordsman level 5, and cannot be summoned by other ways, and it negates all spell effects on the field. Now this card, it's pretty great. Level 7, it has 2800 attacks, so it's quite powerful. However, I have to say this kind of feels like just a weaker Horus, because this of course negates all spell effects, but Horus let you decide what you negated. Horus lets you use your own spells to prevent your opponent's spells. So unless we have some very significant Silent Swordsman support, I don't think the card's going to be very useful in comparison to what we already have in, you know, Horus as a level up deck. Either way, moving on to the next card, we have the ultra rare Great Maju Garzett. This card of course 0 attack, 0 defense, and its effect reads, the attack of this card becomes twice the original attack of one monster that you attributed for the tribute summon of this card. Now, that's actually pretty incredible because you can do some really powerful things. And of course, this card being level 6 only requires 1 tribute. And I mean, if you just like throw down any monster, like say a 1900 attack monster, we have a bunch of those, and tribute that next turn, you're going to get a 3800 Maju Garzett, which is pretty incredible. However, of course, it is important to note that this card, of course, will still have 0 defense, so it's very much easy prey for enemy control or anything that changes its defense position. But still think it's a pretty interesting card, and I feel like it could combo off really well with Soul Exchange, because you can use Soul Exchange, target your opponent's card, tribute that thing, and then get that monster's attack doubled on your side of the field. So that could be a lot of fun. Remove a very dangerous threat and get an even bigger threat in the field. I think Great Maju Garzett could have some fun little decks made around him. Either way, moving on to our next card, we have another ultra rare Grand Master of the Sixth Samurai, and this card is going to be incredible. So let's start off by reading its effect. You can only control 1 Grand Master of the Sixth Samurai. If you control a 6th Samurai monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. How awesome is that? Your turn starts, summon any 6th Samurai, then special summon Grand Master of the 6th Samurai, and you're going to be able to do a lot of stuff because your first 6th Samurai you summon now has its effect live because of Grand Master. I honestly think this card changes the game for 6 Samurais, and while I always consider that deck to be a platinum deck, I think it's going to be able to climb a little bit further because this guy's absolutely amazing. And we haven't even got to the best part of the effect. If this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can target 1 6th Samurai monster in your graveyard and add that target to your hand. So very impressive, and I don't think this card prevents itself from targeting itself, which means I think you can get this card back to your hand with its own effect. And I mean, sure, this effect isn't really that great. I mean, so it just recurses itself, but this card is so good at letting your other 6 Samurais get their effects off, and that's what makes the 6 Samurai so powerful. Anyway, let's move on to our next ultra rare card. We have DD Assailant, a level 4 warrior type monster whose effect reads, when this card is destroyed by battle with an opponent's monster, banish that monster and also banish this card. Now, I have to say, it's a really great effect being able to banish your opponent's monster, but I feel like this card doesn't really deserve the UR tag it's been given. Like, we already have DD Warrior in the game who does pretty much the same thing. After damage calculation, when this monster battles an opponent's monster, banish both cards. And I feel like that really isn't worth the UR tag, we already have DD Warrior. And I know DD Warrior, I believe, came in a structure deck, meaning to get more than one of you have to pay. But regardless, I don't think DD Assailant's worth that much more. Even though it has higher attack defense, is it really worth the major rarity upgrade? I'm not too sure. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section. Either way, let's move on to our next ultra rare card. We have Noble Knight Medraut, and I probably said that wrong. It is a level 4 warrior effect monster, and it is of course for the Noble Knight archetype, and let's read its effect. This card is treated as a normal monster while face up on the field. While equipped with a Noble Arms equipped spell card, this card becomes an effect monster with this effect, so very similar to a Gemini. This card becomes dark and its level increases by 1, so it becomes level 5. Once per turn, if you control no other monsters, you can special summon one Noble Knight monster from your deck in phase up defense position except Noble Knight Medraut, and if you do, destroy one equipped spell card you control. Super interesting stuff. Not too sure how the combos really work. I don't know much about the archetype, but it is very cool that if you slap an equipped spell on this guy, he can then bring another monster out of your deck and send that equipped spell card to the graveyard, which I'm assuming the Noble Knight equipped spell cards will have some kind of effect when they're destroyed, thus kind of creating a really powerful chain. Like I said, not too sure about this, but I'm definitely looking forward to the archetype. Either way, guys, moving on to our next ultra rare card, we have DDR, Dance Dance Revolution. I'm just kidding. It's Different Dimension Reincarnation. And this card is an equip spell. Discard one card, then target one of your banished monsters, special summon it in attack position, and equip it with this card. When this card leaves the field, destroy the equipped monster. So, pretty cool stuff. It's really good to be able to bring back a banished monster, and it's going to combo up pretty well with a bunch of different things. One of which being the Dark Raider. You get the Dark Raider on the field, use the fact to banish one of the monsters in the graveyard, special summon another, and then play DDR to get the banished monster onto the field as well. And you can get some pretty big stuff on the board. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm not too sure what deck I run it in, but I'm looking forward to it. Plus, it could be used with your Dark Magician of Chaos if you're into that. Either way, moving on to the next card, we have Nobleman of Crossout, which I think is one of the most amazing ultra rares in this set. Target one face down monster on the field, destroy that target, and if you do, banish it. Then, if it was a flip monster, each player reveals their main deck and banishes all cards from it with that monster's name. I think this card is going to be super awesome because it counters Sylvans pretty hard. Their main strategy, of course, setting their face down monster, having it flip, getting its effects, and then, you know, popping off. Whereas Nobleman of Crossout is going to be super amazing because you can instantly destroy that card. And if it's a flip effect monster, and I know that Sylvan Co-Mushroomer is not a flip effect monster, but if the person's running something like Magical Merchant, you can actually banish all of their Magical Merchants, which is going to be super cool. I mean, of course, there are a bunch of other cards that can deal with this exact situation differently, such as Tribute to the Doomed, but the fact this card can have that double whammy of just completely banishing all copies of a flip effect monster makes it pretty viable. Not sure if you'll see much play, but it could be useful if you get really tired of Sylvans. Either way, moving on to the next card, we have the final ultra rare of the set, and that is Zing Zang Hu Replica. And you guys may be familiar with the name because we do already have Zing Zang Hu in the game. Now this card, of course, is a continuous trap card, and its effect reads, select one spell/trap on the field. It cannot be activated. Cards and effects cannot be activated in response to this card's activation. Now, you might think this card's pretty slack because Zing Zang Hu targets 2 cards, but this card, of course, has the added benefit that your opponent cannot activate cards in response, meaning that you can use your replica and they won't even be able to activate the card you target in response or chain it, thus letting them make use of the card before it gets locked down. And of course, you might be thinking, well, if I'm going to use something that was going to prevent the card from being activated, why wouldn't I use Fire Formation Goku? Now, again, Fire Formation Goku is a really great card. However, Fire Formation Goku says that the targeted card cannot be activated in response. But if your opponent has the ability to, they can actually activate another card and then activate the targeted card because the activating of the targeted card is actually being done in response to something else. So they do have a workaround, whereas this thing says, hey, not a single card or effect is being activated, you're getting locked down, there's nothing you can do about it. So Zing Zang Hu Replica, while it does seem kind of niche, it definitely has its place in the game. And I'm not sure if I'm going to run it, but it's pretty cool, to say the least. Either way, that's it for the ultra rare cards that I have to show for you guys. Now let's move on to some of the super rares. Alright guys, so here we are with the first super rare of the set. We have Grand Mark, the Rock Monarch. If this card is tribute summoned, target one set card in the field and destroy that target. So very cool stuff. You get this guy in the field, you can destroy some back or a set monster if your opponent has one of those. And you can really go to town. I think this card's going to be a lot of fun. It's a level 6 monster, of course, with 2400 attack and 1000 defense. I think it's pretty impressive. I might even try and splash it into a Magnet Warrior deck and see how it goes, because it does fit the whole Earth Rock archetype. Either way, moving on to our next super rare card, we have Secret 6 Samurai Rihan. So Grandmaster isn't the only support that 6 Samurais are getting. Now this card's pretty incredible. It's a fusion monster, of course, and it requires 3 6 Samurai monsters with different attributes. This card must first be special summoned from your extra deck by sending the above cards you control to the graveyard, and you do not use polymerization. cannot be used as fusion material either, which means you can't use one 6 Samurai Rihan to summon another, and of course in this game that means you can only control one, because otherwise how do you get 3 6 Samurai on the field? Either way, moving on, once per turn you can banish one 6 Samurai card from your hand or face up from your field, then target one card in the field and banish it. So this is actually a very good effect, because banishing cards is super important in today's metagame, where we have various things that can protect themselves from destruction, but of course banishing it says, hey, you're not getting destroyed, you're just getting the hell off the field. So super useful effect in my opinion. Then, moving on, if a 6 Samurai monster you control will be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. So, while most 6 Samurais let you destroy another monster instead of destroying the monster that would be destroyed, this card's actually going to let you protect your 6 Samurai monsters while he's in the graveyard, which is super useful in my opinion. So I'm really looking forward to this card, and honestly, with all the support 6 Samurais are getting, I'm now really keen to run the deck, and I've never been keen on them in this game before, but now I'm getting really excited. Either way, moving on to the next super rare card, we have Silent Swordsman level 5. Of course, this card had to be in here because, of course, Silent Swordsman level 7 needs him. This card, of course, is a warrior, unaffected by opponent's spell effects. During your next standby phase, after this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent by direct attack, you can send this face-up card to the graveyard and special summon one Silent Swordsman level 7 from your hand or deck. Now, as much as I love the Silent Swordsman archetype, this card honestly isn't the best thing in the world. Unaffected by friendly spell effects is good, it's equivalent to Horus. However, its actual level up effect is kind of bad. You have to attack your opponent directly with this monster, and honestly, that's not the easiest thing. And even if you do manage to pull it off, you're going to have just hit your opponent for 2300, which is of course more than half their starting life points, and I feel like getting Silent Swordsman level 7 on the field isn't really going to make much of a difference after you've done that much damage direct. So I'm not sure how useful this archetype is going to be, but of course you can use the spell card level up if you want to get to level 7 faster without having to go through this awkward effect. Either way, moving on to our next super rare, we have Steel Swarm Mantis, a level 5 Fiend monster. When this card is tribute summoned by tributing a Steel Swarm monster, you can pay 1000 life points to target one Steel Swarm monster in your graveyard and special summon that target. So this is actually pretty cool, because what you can do is tribute summon this card by tributing another Steel Swarm, of course, and then pay 1000 life points to get that other Steel Swarm monster back. So it's almost like you pay 1000 life points to summon this card, but of course there are a little more restrictions on it than that being its effect. But I think it's pretty good. And of course this card has 2200 attack, which makes it quite sizable. Either way, moving on to our next super rare card, we have Evil Swarm Heliotrope, a level 4 normal monster with 1950 attack. Now, this is a big deal because this is the first monster we're getting that's level 4 to have over 1900 attack. 1950 is a new ceiling for level 4 beaters, and I think this card's going to be super useful in a bunch of different decks. Of course, if you are using beatdown decks, I'm definitely going to throw it into my deck because I actually use an auto duel deck based around normal monster beatdown, so this guy's going to be super useful. Either way, moving on to our next super rare card, we have Noble Knight Dryston. It's of course a warrior monster, 800 attack, 800 defense. While you control another Noble Knight monster, your opponent cannot target your monsters with less than 1800 attack except this card for attacks or with card effects. When a Noble Arms equipped spell is equipped to this card, target one face-up card in the field, destroy that target. You can only use the effect of Noble Knight Dryston once per turn. So this of course is really cool. It of course can protect other cards on the field, and if it's equipped with the Noble Arms equipped spell, you can destroy any card in the field, which I think is super useful. And of course, like I said, if Noble Arms equipped spells have something along the lines of an effect that triggers when they're destroyed, you can of course combo this archetype with Double Cyclone to make some really awesome plays. Either way, moving on to our next super rare card, we have Spirit of Flames. This card is a pyro monster with 1700 attack, cannot be normal summoned or set, must first be special summoned from your hand by banishing one fire monster from your graveyard. This card gains 300 attack during your battle phase only. So this is basically the same as Rock Spirit, I believe his name was. You basically just banish a card of the same attribute, and it ends up getting 1700 attack on the field, 300 more during battle phase. Decent card. Don't think it's worth the high rarity it has, but still, it could be useful in some decks. I could see Hazy Flames using this card as a way to get a free summon, and then distribute it off in order to get their main boss monsters out. Either way, moving on to our next super rare, we have the first of our spell cards, Recurring Nightmare. Target 2 dark monsters with 0 defense in your graveyard and add those targets to your hand. Now, quickly before I actually started recording the video, I had a look at what different cards you could target with this effect that are already in the game. The ones that stood out to me were, of course, the World Champion or World Carrotweight Champion. That guy has 0 defense, so this could support Sylvans, I don't know. We also have various cards such as Snow, who is a Dark World card, and I think that's kind of broken to be able to recycle her for free and then be able to tribute her for her effect again. That's kind of crazy. And as broken as this card might be with certain cards like Snow, I feel like this card's major drawback is the fact that it says target 2 monsters. It doesn't say up to 2, which means you must target 2. In order to resolve this card, you have to have 2 targets in the graveyard, making it a little less viable in my opinion. Either way, moving on to our next super rare card, we have Special Hurricane. Discard 1 card from your hand, destroy all special summoned monsters on the field. I think this card could be super useful. It's about as close as we're going to get to having Lightning Vortex. I know Chaz has a card and that says discard 1 card, destroy your opponent's monsters. But this card's actually pretty incredible in my opinion. With the metagame being so focused on special summoning monsters, of course, at least our big boss monsters, this card could be super useful. And while it does, of course, force you to pay a cost of discarding, you can use that discard to your advantage, of course, if you want to have certain things in the graveyard. I'm definitely looking forward to getting this card myself because, of course, when the meta changes to being all about special summons, this card will be super useful. Now moving on to our final card for this video, we have the trap card Escalation of the Monarchs. It's a continuous trap card. Once per turn during your opponent's main phase or your opponent's battle phase, you can immediately, after this effect resolves, tribute summon 1 monster. Now, this of course is pretty crazy. Being able to normal summon during your opponent's turn means you can actually trigger this effect and summon your monster before your opponent has a chance to destroy the monsters that you already have in the field. So traditionally, you'd have to protect your monsters for a turn before you can actually tribute them away and get bigger monsters out. With this card, of course, you can actually summon your monster, set this face down, pass turn, your opponent starts their main phase, you flip your card, you tribute your monster, and boom, you're good to go. You'll already have your Beatstick on the field for your opponent to try and deal with. I think this card could be super useful. Of course, very useful if you're going to be running Monarchs in your deck. And of course, there are a bunch of other good tribute monsters in this pack and in the past packs that you could want to use this card with. Either way, guys, that's going to be it for this league video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. And of course, let me know in the comment section below what you think about the lead cards for this box. Are you going to be buying out this box or are you just going to skip it and wait for the next one? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And of course, if you guys want to see more Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links content, including deck builds, including some PvP videos, as well as future league videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button also. Either way, I want to thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.